Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog headlines. I introduce you guys to 5 cool prog singles and talk a little bit about my channel and what's been going on with me. So it's October 28th, 2022. Interesting lineup of news this week that I'm going to get to, but first, as always, I'd like to encourage all of you guys to subscribe if you haven't yet. It really supports the channel and helps keep me motivated to keep going. I crossed the 2,500 subscribers and I'm really excited about it, so thank you guys for your support. And always a comment and a like is always appreciated as well for these videos. So thank you guys for your support, and let's dive into the news today. So first, I always like to start with item number 1 is some new releases that have come out today or this weekend. And the first one I want to mention is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard and their new album Changes, which is their 3rd album they've released in October. This is crazy. They're just such a prolific band. They're somewhat of a psych rock jam band of a sort, but with some prog leanings. They experiment a lot with different genres and different styles, do long form pieces. So very beloved by a lot of people in the prog community, and a band that I'm trying to learn to discover and appreciate more as well. I haven't heard a lot of their catalog because it's just so massive, and it's one of those catalogs where it's hard to know where to start. But I've been enjoying these records that have come out this month, so they're spiking on my radar and I want to mention them to you guys. And so the first album they released this month was Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava, that was released on the 7th. Laminated Denim was then released on the 12th, and now this album Changes, released on the 28th, which is today at the time I'm recording this. And this is more of something that's been in the works, it seems, for a while, maybe a bit more of a pop-centric feel, R&B, 70s R&B style. Changes opens the album as a long 13-minute opening track, an odyssey touching on kaleidoscopic 60s pop, color-splattered prog rock, fireworks, and floaty keyboard-driven retro R&B. Quite an interesting description. I'm putting that as one of the prog singles this week, that epic Changes, which is a really cool track. And all the other tracks are kind of built out from that one, are somewhat of chord progressions based on changes in different ways. So it's a really interesting album that really is spiking on my radar. Also out this week is the new album from Galahad called The Last Great Adventurer. They're a neo-prog group that have been making albums for quite some time now. Their last album is one I really liked called Seas of Change, which was like one big epic piece of music, one single song over the course of the disc. But this new one is more of a collection of songs, basically more in the style of the couple albums that preceded it, because it was actually recorded prior to Seas of Change, but because of COVID and all these different factors, they're releasing it now instead. So that was released earlier this week, and wanted to point it out, released on October 24th, the CD version at least, and there's going to be more of a digital streaming style version released on November 7th, so that should be coming shortly for those of you who prefer your music in the digital or streaming space. But I believe it's already available to purchase on Bandcamp, so there is a digital version out there for purchase currently, and it seems like there's a vinyl version in the works, but it might take some time, so that should be a cool release to check out. So those are the new releases that are on my radar. Of course, as always, leave in the comments any other new releases that you're aware of that came out this weekend that you might want to point out and point in people's directions. It's always very helpful and often points me towards albums I didn't know about. And so item number 2, Moody blues legend John Lodge announces 2023 tour performing classic album Days of Future Past. So the Moody Blues are a band that I enjoy quite a bit. They're more of an older school band, loosely associated with prog. I don't know if you'd call them a full-on prog band, but definitely have touchstones in prog. Days of Future Past is one of their iconic classic records from back, I believe, in the 60s. Me and Jana covered Nights in White Satin on a recent episode of our Prog Song Sunday series, so really a great, beautiful, lush, orchestrated album that deserves to be heralded as one of the best foundational albums to prog, I would say. So celebrating the Moody's are celebrating the 55th anniversary of the album, And so joining John on stage is his 10,000 Light Years band, long-term collaborator Alan Hewitt and Billy Ashbaugh from the Moody Blues touring band, together with Duffy King and Jason Charbonneau. John Davison of Yes will also be joining them for special renditions of Nights in White Satin, as well as Tuesday Afternoon. Plus, the magical voice of Graham Edge will be heard via a special recording. So that'll be really, really a good tribute in that way. So definitely cool. There's definitely dates online for this upcoming tour. Tour dates going through February and March of next year, so that should be really cool for Moody Blues fans who really love that classic album. It should be a great tour for them. Item number 3, Devin Townsend launches video for his next single, Lightworker, and announces album release streaming event. So the new album from Devin Townsend is called Lightwork, and it was meant to come out today, but it's actually pushed forward a week to next Friday on November 4th, so I'm sure I'll be talking about it as a new release item in next week's New Music Weekly album that I'm greatly anticipating. I hear great things about it. There's reviews popping up already. More of like a lighter album for him, but definitely with still touchstones of his traditional heaviness as well. Somewhat of a lockdown album based on the COVID lockdown, his feelings and things coming out of that. So it's definitely topical and an important album to listen to for fans of Devin Townsend. And the singles that he's released have been fantastic, so I'm really excited. This new single, Lightworker, is no exception. Definitely check that out. That'll be one of the Prog singles listed in the description. So it's a beautiful track with a great video attached to it. And the album release streaming event is interesting as well, taking place on November 5th at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. CEST, 3 p.m. EST, and 12 p.m. Pacific, just depending on your time zone. It'll premiere on Devin's YouTube channel and will feature a specially recorded acoustic performance as well as a Q&A. So that should be really cool to witness if you're a Devin Townsend fan. And there's submitting questions for that now, and it seems like today's the deadline, Friday 28th of October, for submitting fan questions for that Q&A. So that should be a cool event, and the album should be a really cool one to listen to and could place highly as a year-end album contender. I'll probably be talking about it soon as well in a review format, so that should be really fun to look forward to. Item number 4, on a more sadder note, there was news this week of Nightwish singer Flor Jansen revealing that she has cancer. She's suffering from breast cancer, but she's emphasizing that the prognosis is actually really good, that it's a non-aggressive cancer that's not spreading, so it should be treatable and she should be fine from it, but she is undergoing surgery to remove the tumor. I believe she must have already undergone that surgery, but she still anticipates making her upcoming European tour with Nightwish, kicking off in November 20th. But it's definitely a scary thing to hear a prognosis of cancer, I'm sure, and so our prayers and wishes, of course, go out to Flor Jansen. And so hopefully she recovers well and all goes well with that situation. But I wanted to mention it because I know I have a lot of Nightwish fans in this community. So definitely wishing her a speedy recovery. So hopefully that will all work out fine. And that's that. So next we move on to item number 5. Gleb Kolyadin announces a new solo album called The Outland. Now, Gleb Kolyadin is one half of the duo of I Am the Morning. He's a pianist and composer who's just brilliant. And this is maybe a bit more obscure of a news item, but I wanted to spotlight it because I Am the Morning is one of my favorite modern prog groups that I think are just fantastic. This great classical pianist, along with an incredible female vocalist. So, and his last solo release was really incredible. In fact, it might have been 2 releases ago. I believe it was a self-titled solo album from him that was really, really great, with the great proggy tendencies and some cool guests on it as well. So this album, The Outland, is coming out November 4th, which is next week. So it's coming out soon. but this is only through Burning Shed. It seems like the full release will be available early 2023 on a wider scale. So this is just an exclusive release through K-Scope Records at this time on Burning Shed. So you can pre-order it there, I believe. And so this is being described as a 6-movement symphonic suite, of course, in a prog jazz rock vein, and all the madness that is happening on the planet. It is sometimes critically important to create your own world, to find the spirit of a hermit in yourself in order to look at what is happening from the outside with a different understanding. This is Outland, a world within a world assembled from disparate fragments, is how Kolyadin describes the album. So it sounds really interesting to me. A really cool, interesting array of guests on it as well, including Gavin Harrison, Tony Levin, Vlad Avi, Tim Lefevre, Evan Carson, and Eliza Marshall. And string parts were prepared by Grigory Lozenkov, who's worked with I Am the Morning in concert. So should be a really cool album to check out. A solo album from Gleb, an amazing pianist and composer for I Am the Morning. So I just wanted to point that out. And now moving into the prog singles portion, as I've already mentioned, Devin Townsend's Lightworker is part of the list. So check that single out if you haven't before. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I've linked to their whole Song of Changes. I think it's an incredible track that really showcases the band in an interesting way. A to Z has a new single called At the Water's Edge. They had a self-titled release a little bit ago, a couple months ago, I believe. Came out in August. A really cool melodic hard rock project from Fate's Warning icons Ray Alder and Mark Zonder. So really cool album, and this is a great single from it, so I'd recommend checking that out. A great video that they've put together. And then Arc Echo has a new video called Battlestar Nostalgica, which is they're a cool instrumental progressive metal group. They toured with Dream Theater recently, and they just have some material that I find really fascinating. They have some great music videos out that showcase their really eclectic progressive metal style. They have some interesting jazzy keyboard arrangements and things, and so that's a really cool trip to check out. And they're actually going on tour right now. They're actually starting a tour in looks like the eastern United States right now, so definitely a band to check out. And then finally, I saw there's a new single from Catatonia called Atrium. Metal Masters Catatonia return with their next studio album, which should be coming out in January, Sky Void of Stars, via Napalm Records. And it's just a really dark but cool song with that typical gloomy atmosphere and ambiance that you're used to with them. So really a cool track to check out from Catatonia. And so that will do it for my list of singles. Hopefully there's something there. I think it's a pretty strong list of singles to check out. So I'd recommend you guys going into the description and clicking on some links and checking out some cool new prog singles that are out. So as for the channel this week, we had a great top 5 that was a lot of fun that people have been commenting on, of top 5 prog beards. Kind of a unique concept, but was fun to put together, and I think a lot of people have been having fun commenting on that one. So check it out if you haven't yet. Coming up this week is the continuation of our classic album series. Me and Jana talk about classic albums throughout rock history, and this time we're talking about Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, so that should be a cool video. We do a reaction to The Chain and then move on to actually talking about the album in full, so should be a really good time there. I'm looking forward to hopefully some new album reviews, if not this week, then the week after. I really want to talk about Devin Townsend's Lightwork once I'm able to get a hold of it and listen to it. I'm excited about that release. And then there's just going to be a big epic new music shuffle, I'm sure, in the future that focuses on all these other albums that have been coming out that I've been enjoying and liking. And then we'll get into the year-end content not too long from now of my favorite albums of the year and my favorite songs of the year and all of that stuff. Of course, there's still some year to be played out, so definitely haven't finalized those lists. There's still many releases to come in November and into December, so definitely we'll be checking all those out, but just want to put a pin in that for future content, like in second half of December or so, as I start to wrap up the year and start to think about what my favorite music was this year. So thank you guys again for being a part of this community, for joining me in these videos and in this discussion. Grateful for your comments and the participation you guys give me, for the likes on the videos. It's all really appreciated, and I'm thankful for all of you. So thank you for joining me, and please just enjoy the music out there. Thank you again. Bye, everybody.